Okay students, today we are going to start a new chapter of ICSE class 6 biology, that is the circulatory system. If you want to see the lectures of other chapters, you will get the video link in the description below and you can watch it. So let's start. So circulatory system is the system which is responsible for the circulation of blood throughout our body. Okay, so our body consists of many fluids like blood and lymph. Okay, and these blood is responsible for carrying oxygen throughout our whole body. So for the transport of those oxygen, we need the blood to flow, and that for proper flowing of the blood, we need the circulatory system. Okay. So throughout our body, the circulatory system, it transports the blood, through which the oxygen is transported, some nutrients and waste products are removed. So this circulatory system, it is also called cardiovascular system. Okay, and it consists of three main components, that is the heart, blood and the blood vessels, out of which the heart is one of the major component which is responsible for the pumping of this blood. Okay. Now if I look into the blood, this blood again consists of two main components inside it, that is the liquid part of the blood which we call as plasma. Okay, and apart from this liquid part, the blood also contains certain cells which has different functions. Okay, now this plasma consists of 90% water and 10% of some waste products, hormones, nutrients and all. Okay, and these cells are of three types. The first is known as red blood cell. The red blood cell is called red blood cell because it contains a protein which is known as hemoglobin. Okay, and it is also called erythrocytes. The main function of RBC is to carry oxygen. Okay, and this oxygen, it binds with the hemoglobin and helps in the transport. Okay, now the shape of RBC is biconcave disc shaped. Second is WBC, which is known as white blood cell, and we call it as leukocytes also. The main function of WBC is to digest the germs or produce antibodies. We will see what are antibodies. Okay, and these WBC are colorless. So here we need to understand two main terms which we have seen, that is the hemoglobin, which is the colored portion of RBC, and the antibodies which is produced by WBC in order to protect our body from some foreign substance. The third is the platelets. Platelets are also called thrombocytes. Okay, and it is responsible for the clotting of blood. So these are the three main cells which are present in the blood. Now let us understand the blood vessels. So there are basically three types of blood vessels, out of which the first is artery. Now this artery, it carries blood away from the heart. Okay, like if you want the blood to be transported to all the body parts through the heart, then artery will do this. Artery has thick muscular walls because whenever the heart pumps the blood has a very high pressure. To resist that high pressure, the artery has thick muscular walls. The third is it carries oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. We will see this also. Basically the main purpose of artery is to carry the oxygen rich blood. Remember, oxygenated means it is oxygen rich. It still contains carbon dioxide but not in high concentration. Okay, so it carries oxygen rich blood to all the body parts from the heart. Okay, and it do not have valves. Valves are certain structures which prevent the backflow of blood. Okay, so as in artery the blood is already flowing in high pressure, so it do not need valves to prevent the backflow. Okay. Second is vein. Vein, it carries blood towards the heart. So from all the body parts, the vein carry the carbon dioxide rich blood. Okay, in the body what is happening? Body is producing, the cells of the body producing carbon dioxide. These carbon dioxide is getting inside the blood and it needs to be removed from our body. So that carbon dioxide rich blood is carried by the vein towards the heart. Now it has thin walls because the blood flowing through it is not in higher pressure, and it carries deoxygenated blood except the pulmonary vein. Okay, we will see why this pulmonary artery and vein are exceptions. And it has valves to prevent the backflow of blood. The third is capillary. So capillary, it is a connection of artery and vein. Okay, so whenever artery divides, it again rejoins to form the vein. So that division, that connection between the artery and vein is called capillary. Okay, and it is responsible for the exchange of nutrients, waste products and gases. Okay, so the inside the organs where the gases exchange taking place, that is due to capillaries. So here one thing which you need to remember, see, if we will use red color, then that red color is for oxygenated blood. Okay, in diagrammatic representations we use red color for oxygenated blood, means the oxygen rich blood, and we use blue color for the deoxygenated blood. Okay, so you need to remember this one. Now let us study the structure of heart. So our heart, if you look, this is just a rough diagram which I have drawn. The heart is somewhat cone shaped and it is the size of a fist. Okay, it is located in the chest cavity between the two lungs and it is slightly tilted toward the left side. Okay, now if I divide the heart, it is divided into 4 chambers. The upper chambers are called auricles or the atria, and the lower chambers are called ventricles. Now these upper chambers, this is the right auricle and this is the left auricle. Remember, you will be confused to see that the right auricle I have labeled it on the left side. Okay, in diagram actually we do it in the opposite manner. So this is the right auricle and left auricle, and this is the right ventricle and left ventricle. Okay, apart from this, there are 2 structures or 2 valves between the auricle and ventricles. Okay, these are known as atrioventricular valves. It prevents the backflow of blood from the ventricle to the auricle, and the division of the chambers of the right side to the left side, it is divided by a structure which is known as septum. Okay, now the heart is made up of specialized muscles called cardiac muscles. Okay, and these muscles has a tendency that they can beat throughout the lifetime without even getting tired. Okay, and there are one more type of valves which are known as semilunar valves. Okay, semilunar valves are those valves which are present between the ventricles and the arteries. So now see how the circulation of blood takes place. See, first, in order to make the blood oxygenated, we have to send it to the lungs. Okay, remember, our main purpose is to remove the carbon dioxide from the blood and make it oxygen rich. So in order to get the oxygen inside the blood, we have to send it to the lungs. Okay, so when the blood will reach the lungs, the gaseous exchange takes place and the oxygen will diffuse into the blood vessels. Okay, and the carbon dioxide will diffuse out from the blood vessel. Now that oxygen rich blood from the lungs, it will again enter into the heart. So from the heart, the oxygen rich blood will be supplied to all the body parts. Okay, and there the oxygen will diffuse into different organs, and from there the carbon dioxide will again enter into the blood. So that blood will again be deoxygenated, and that deoxygenated blood from all the body parts will reach the heart. So on the basis of these two, there are 2 types of circulation. The first is pulmonary circulation, which is the circulation of blood from the heart to the lungs for oxygenation and from the lungs to the heart. Okay, and the second type is systemic circulation, which means that from the heart the oxygenated blood will reach the body, and from the body the deoxygenated blood will reach the heart. So these are the 2 types of circulation which occurs in our body. Now let us see the mechanism. So let us consider this is the heart, which is divided into right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle and left ventricle. Okay, now this is the upper body and lower body, and this is the lungs. So from the upper half and lower half of the body, the deoxygenated blood enters into the right auricle. Remember, I am giving the arrow in blue color, which means that the blood is deoxygenated. Okay, it is carbon dioxide rich blood, so here the color matters. So from the upper half of the body, the blood vessel or the vein which carries the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle, it is the superior vena cava, while the vein which carries the deoxygenated blood from the lower half of the body, it is known as inferior vena cava. Okay, now from the right auricle, the deoxygenated blood will enters into the right ventricle. Okay, and from right ventricle, the blood will be pumped to the lungs for oxygenation, and this is carried by the pulmonary artery. So here we can see that pulmonary artery is taking the blood from the heart to the lungs, but as it is an artery, it should carry oxygenated blood, but it is carrying deoxygenated blood. That is the exception. Okay, now in the lungs, the blood will get oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood will be transported to the left auricle of the heart. This is done by pulmonary vein. So here you can see that pulmonary vein is carrying the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. So this is another exception which we saw. Now from the left auricle, the oxygenated blood will move into the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, it will be transported to all the body parts. And this is done by a major artery which is known as aorta. So aorta further gets divided into many smaller arteries, and it is transported to all the body parts. So this is how the circulation of blood takes place. Now we will see what is heartbeat. So heartbeat is the sound which is produced due to closing of the valves. Okay, so during the circulation of blood, the valves gets closed and open. Okay, simultaneously, different valves. So this closing of valves, it causes a sound, and that sound is heard. Okay, this is known as heartbeat. So for one single heartbeat, it takes approximately 0.8 seconds. Okay, it is approximation just. So if I see in 1 minute there are 60 seconds. Okay, and for 0.8 second we are getting 1 beat. So it means for 1 second I will get 1 by 0.8 beat, and for 60 seconds I will get 60 by 0.8, which is equals to 75 beats. So it means for 1 minute I am getting approximately 72 to 75 heartbeats. Okay, this is the normal heart rate of a human being. Now it can vary from different person to person, but this is the average heart rate of human being. Okay, now this heartbeat, so as the heart pumps the blood, what happens, there is an expansion of arteries, okay, which occur when ventricles contract to release the blood into the aorta. These expansion, it can be felt below the skin, and this is only called as pulse. Okay, so whenever we measure the pulse, it is equivalent to our heartbeats. Okay, and apart from this, the pressure which is exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries, this is called the blood pressure. Okay, and this blood pressure is measured by a device which is known as sphygmomanometer, and our average blood pressure is around, which is 120 by 80 millimeter of mercury. Okay, so if a blood pressure is high, then we will call it as hypertension. Now let us see blood groups. So blood groups was first identified by Karl Landsteiner. Before understanding the different blood groups, let us understand the concept of antigen and antibody. So antigen is any foreign substance that induces an immune response. Okay, any foreign substance which when enters your body, it will produce an immune response in our body, and this immune response is in the form of antibodies. Okay, so antibodies are those specific substances which are produced in response to any antigen. So it means a specific antigen will produce a specific antibody. Okay, our main purpose of that antibody is to remove those antigens from our body. Now let us consider, we know that our blood groups are divided into 4 blood groups, that is A, B, AB and O. Okay, so the blood group A, it contains, person having blood group A, it contains antigen A on their RBC, okay, and antibody B. Similarly, the B blood group having antigen B but antibody A, you can see these are opposites. The AB blood group, it has antigen of both A and B but no antibody. But O blood group, it has no antigen and both the antibody. So let us consider if the person having blood group A has donated the blood to blood group B, then what will happen? The antigen A will enter into the blood group B where the antibody A is present. So antibody A will react with the antigen A, okay, and this will cause a clumping reaction. So that is why it is not possible. In the same way, if a person having blood group B will donate to blood group A, then again antigen B will react with antibody A, and again it is not possible. So a person having blood group A or blood group B can only receive the blood from A, okay, if a person is having A, or B if a person is having B. But in case of AB blood group, you see it is having no antibody. So if a person having blood group A donates to blood group AB, then it can take. In the same way, B can also donate to AB because it is having no antibody, so no reaction will occur. So it is possible. So that's why AB is known as universal recipient. Okay. Now in case of blood group O, you see it is having no antigen. So if it donates to any of the blood groups, then nothing will happen because no antigen means what? No reaction will occur. Okay. And that is why this is again possible. So O blood group is known as universal donor. So here we saw that O blood group can only receive from O, but it can donate to anyone. In the same way, AB blood group can receive from anybody, but it can donate only to AB. Okay. So this is how the blood groups transfer occurs. So from this our chapter is completed. Hope you all understood the chapter. In the next video we will start a new chapter. So thank you for watching. We will meet in the next video.